The movies got it wrong. Dead wrong. They painted the end times as some kind of twisted action movie where leather-clad heroes sprint through explosions and mow down zombie hordes with unlimited ammo. Reality check. The actual apocalypse is going to be a lot less Mad Max and a lot more camping trip from hell. No dramatic soundtrack. No slow-motion heroics. Just you, desperately trying to figure out why your makeshift shelter collapsed again while your stomach gnaws at itself. Your buddy Mike thinks he's ready because he's got 17 tactical knives and enough camouflage gear to outfit a small army. Meanwhile, he can't start a fire without a Zippo and thinks survival means eating gas station jerky until rescue arrives. Spoiler alert, nobody's coming. The grid's down, the stores are empty, and that fancy gear Mike bought online is about as useful as a chocolate teapot when he's shivering in the dark. Here's what nobody wants to hear. Survival isn't glamorous. It's not about looking cool or having the most expensive equipment. It's about mastering the mundane tasks that keep you breathing when everything else falls apart. The skills that actually matter are the ones your great-grandfather knew by heart and you've completely forgotten. They're boring as watching paint dry, but they're the difference between making it through the first month and becoming a cautionary tale. Today, we're breaking down 5 skills that seem completely worthless right now, but will turn you into an absolute legend when the lights go out permanently. These aren't sexy. They won't make you feel like an action star. But they'll keep you alive when everyone else is desperately Googling how to purify water on phones that died 3 weeks ago. First up, the humble art of rope work. Yeah, I know. Knots. Sounds about as exciting as watching grass grow. But here's the brutal truth. In a world where Home Depot is a smoking crater and Amazon delivery is a distant memory, rope is your new best friend. Your shelter, your gear, your ability to haul supplies up a cliff face. All of it depends on whether you can tie something more sophisticated than the knot you learned to secure your sneakers. A decent knot is engineering you can carry in your head. It's reusable, it doesn't need batteries, and unlike that roll of duct tape you're hoarding, it never runs out. Learn a bowline and you can secure a load that won't slip. Master a taut line hitch and your tarp won't flap like a demented bird every time the wind picks up. Get comfortable with a few basic hitches and suddenly you're building structures that would make a carpenter jealous. The person who knows their knots can lash together a shelter that laughs at storms. The person who doesn't is sleeping under a soggy pile of fabric, wondering why everything keeps falling apart. It's not about memorizing 50 different ties. 5 solid knots will handle 90% of what you need. But you better know them cold because when you're working in the dark with numb fingers, muscle memory is all you've got. Next, we're talking fire. Real fire. Not the kind you make by flicking a lighter and hoping for the best. That Bic in your pocket has maybe 1,000 lights left in it. Then what? You better have a backup plan that doesn't involve praying to the fire gods and rubbing 2 sticks together like a confused caveman. Fire is everything. It's warmth when hypothermia comes knocking. It's cooked food when raw meat wants to introduce you to some very unfriendly bacteria. It's clean water when every stream is basically a microbial cocktail party. Lose your ability to make fire and you've just signed up for a very short, very cold camping trip. The physics of friction fire isn't rocket science, but it requires practice. A bow drill setup can coax flames from the dampest conditions if you know what you're doing. You're doing. A ferro rod and striker will throw sparks when your lighter gives up. Flint and steel works the same way humans have been making fire for thousands of years. But knowing the tools is only half the battle. You need to understand Tinder. Real Tinder, not the dating app. The stuff that catches a spark and nurses it into flame when everything around you is soaked and miserable. Birch bark peels off in papery strips that ignite like they've been soaked in gasoline. Pine pitch burns hot and steady, even when wet. Steel wool turns into a glowing ember with the tiniest spark. Learn to spot these materials now, when you can Google what they look like. Because when you're standing in a forest at dusk with hypothermia creeping in, you won't have time for a nature identification course. The difference between someone who can make fire and someone who can't isn't just warmth. It's the difference between cooked meat that won't kill you and raw protein that turns your intestines into a war zone. It's the difference between water that's safe to drink and water that introduces you to parasites you can't pronounce. Fire is civilization in a handful of sparks. Moving on to something even less glamorous. Mending things. In the before times, when your jacket got a tear, you bought a new jacket. Simple, convenient, completely unsustainable when the factories are dark and the supply chains are memories. In the after times, that hole in your rain gear isn't just an inconvenience. It's a breach in your defenses against the elements. Basic needlework isn't about crafting cute throw pillows. It's field surgery for your equipment. Every piece of gear you own will break, tear, or wear out. Your backpack strap will snap when you're carrying everything you own. Your tent will rip when the wind decides to throw a tantrum. Your socks will develop holes that turn every step into agony. A needle and thread weighs almost nothing but can save gear worth hundreds of dollars. Learn to patch fabric so it stays patched. Learn to reinforce stress points before they fail. Learn to darn socks because walking 10 miles a day in holey socks creates blisters, and blisters become infections. And infections without antibiotics can end your story before you've written the good chapters. These 5 skills, knots, fire, mending, butchery, and water purification, won't get you Instagram followers or make you look like a tactical operator. But when the world stops working, they're the difference between thriving and becoming a statistic. Start learning them now, while YouTube tutorials still exist and mistakes don't cost lives.